Barnaby Joyce's political future is up in the air again following his announcement over the weekend that he will not recontest his seat at the next election. Speculation has been rife that the former leader of the Nationals might switch parties and join One Nation. Barnaby Joyce joins me now from Tamworth. Barnaby Joyce, welcome.
Good morning. Oh, good morning. God, I'm tired. Good evening, Sarah.
On the ball now. You obviously, let's go to One Nation. You obviously admire Pauline Hanson enough to consider defecting to One Nation. What is it that she does better than the National Party?
Well, I think more importantly than that is to say to the people of New England and also the upper hunter how it's now announcing that I will no longer contest the seat. What an incredible honour it was to represent these people. I'll continue to do that till election day, and I apologise for any disruption that these circumstances may occur, but it will not disrupt my office's focus on them.
Okay, well, having got that out of the way, to the point, yes, thank you.
And going to the point that you brought up, I've only made a decision that my participation in the National Party at a federal level is not appropriate, considering the hurt that my electorate is going through, first and foremost because of the ridiculous policy, which is net zero, which will have no effect on the weather, but is completely desecrating our landscape, dividing our communities, impoverishing poor people, deindustrialising our nation. And on the premise of that, which I imagine some of your million viewers might not understand, when you live with that, it is absolutely prescient in everything you do and how you approach that. And we have not moved far enough to get away from this policy so that we can create some sort of restitution for the damage it has done.
All right, let me just come back, if I can, bring you back to the question, Barnaby Joyce, because you've made this point about net zero many times.
That is what's really important, and it's good to make it again.
Point made. All right, fair enough. How long have you been speaking? How long have you been speaking to Pauline Hanson about the possibility of you joining One Nation?
Well, I'm not sort of going to go through that. As I've said,
it's a very simple question, Barnaby Joyce. It's a very simple question. How long have you been speaking to Pauline Hanson about the prospect of joining One Nation?
I've known, as you know, I've known Pauline Hanson. In fact, we've been rivals at times through our political career. I've been in politics for 20 years, and one of the first campaigns I had was actually against Pauline Hanson. But so I know Pauline very well, just like I know people from the Labor Party very well, just like I know people from the Greens very well.
I don't think you're talking to people in the Labor Party about the prospect of joining the Labor Party or the Greens.
So we're in the discussion about whether you're going to talk to people. I suppose you talk to people all the time, but this idea that I'm in continual communication with Pauline Hanson is absurd. I can be completely and utterly honest. The last time I spoke to Pauline in person was, I think, down in Canberra. I don't know how long that went for, maybe 20 minutes. And then last night, because we seem to be doing this via media, I did ring her and said, well, right, let's take out the middleman and let's talk to each other direct and just say hello. And I'm not going to go through the details of those discussions.
This is a simple question.
I'm not going to go through the details of those discussions.
For the sake of the voters of New England.
It's a simple question, but I'll give the answer that I wish, OK? It's a simple question, but I'm not going to start discussing private discussions with other people. Otherwise, they're no longer, Sarah, private discussions.
Have you discussed running on the Senate ticket for One Nation in New South Wales?
As I've said, Sarah, I'm not going to discuss private discussions, Sarah. And I know I don't want this to descend into sort of Trump-Zelensky Oval Office scenario, but I'm just not going to discuss private discussions.
There are so many ways I could go with that statement, but I won't. Let me put the question to you in a different way. It looks clear that the National Party looks set to drop net zero before the end of the year. That's what you say you want.
That's good.
So why quit now?
That's good.
If the Nationals are about to deliver exactly what you want?
That's really good. If we get out of net zero, that's a really, really good thing. And it's not a good thing for me. It's a good thing for our nation. It's an incredibly good thing for the people of New England.
Would it be enough for you, Barnaby Joyce, to remain in the Nationals?
I'm not going to go through hypotheticals, because right as we speak, Sarah, tonight, net zero is a policy of the Labor Party, the Greens, the Liberal Party and the National Party.
But Barnaby Joyce, I think take the audience seriously, take the viewers seriously.
Sarah
you know perfectly well.
I can't be any more serious than what I am.
You know perfectly well that the National Party is close.
I'm being totally serious with you.
You know that the National Party is close to announcing its policy that it will change its policy on net zero, exactly what you've been asking for for months.
Sarah,
so would that be enough for you to remain in the National Party? It's a pretty simple question, Barnaby Joyce.
Sarah, on behalf of your million viewers, and congratulations, I will make a statement about that when that happens. If that happens, it hasn't happened, Sarah, unless you're saying that are you absolutely certain it's going to happen, Sarah?
I think your contacts in the National Party are better than mine.
I doubt that very much at the moment. So what are your views?
Well, why don't we move on? We'll take this question in a different way. You told your branch members at the weekend when the story broke, perhaps unfortunately for you, that you were in discussions with Pauline Hanson. You told them you had no choice but to step down because your relationship with David Littleproud had broken down.
Sarah,
let me just finish. When did that happen? Because a few weeks ago on this programme...
You've got to get it right, Sarah.
Well, I'm just quoting your statement.
I didn't... No, Sarah.
Go ahead,
Can you quote the partner's statement, Sarah? Can you quote the partner's statement, Sarah? Because you just said that I said I was in discussions with One Nation. No. Quote me that part where I said that, please.
No, I think you misunderstood. You told your branch members that you had no choice.
No, I didn't. I heard you perfectly well.
Well,
and I didn't. That's what you said, and I didn't say it.
Well, let me ask the question again.
Go on.
You told your branch members you had no choice but to step down because your relationship with David Littleproud had broken down. I just wanted to know when that happened because a few weeks ago on this programme you said your issues were not with David Littleproud but they were about net zero. So what happened with David Littleproud in the meantime?
I think it's fair enough to say that we all know that during the election I was asked to stay in New England. I think that everybody knows that.
Well, I don't think the National Party accept that, but anyway.
Well, they do. Who doesn't expect?
Carry on.
Who's your source there?
I'm trying to understand what happened in your relationship.
Who's your source?
I'm the one asking the questions,
you've got to be straight
Barnaby.
now. You've got to be straight because you always ask for me. So who's your source, Sarah?
So when did this final breakdown in the relationship with David Littleproud happen? Because a few weeks ago on this programme you said it's not about David Littleproud, it's about net zero. So if it's about David Littleproud, when did the relationship break down?
Well, as I was starting to answer before you interrupted me, we all know that at the time of the campaign, I was asked to stay in New England because I did not reflect what the National Party believed in. Now, of course, I took that as a little bit of an affront because I think I actually do know what regional people believe in, and our vote here in New England actually went up as opposed to every electorate around us. Now, the next thing is, of course, just basically the theatrics of it, where the atmospherics of what happens. And at the time of the reshuffle, and I understand reshuffles, that's what leaders do.
Barnaby Joyce, these are all things that happened. These are all things that happened. These are all things that happened weeks ago.
These are all things that happened. Let me answer the question.
These are things in the past.
This is sounding very Trumpian, not by you. Very Trumpian.
That's a first. These are all things in the past.
I'm not Zelensky.
This is not a conversation about Tomahawk missiles. I want to know, I'm asking on behalf of the viewers, what has changed? Because a few weeks ago,
very Trump Zelensky here.
You said this was not about David Littleproud. Now you're saying it is about David Littleproud. Is it about David Littleproud? Is it about net zero? Or is it about you leading
One Nation? Do you want to interview yourself, or do you want to interview me? Do you want to interview yourself?
There you go. You've got three choices. Choose one. Ideally, the truth.
No, it doesn't work like that, Sarah. It doesn't work. Oh, Sarah, that's making a value judgment. Don't get so hot under the collar. The issue is, I've clearly said that it's quite apparent to all that the relationship had broken down. You always hoped that it would reconcile itself, and it wasn't, right? And therefore, you've got to. I don't want to throw the plates around the kitchen. When something breaks down, you want to politely and in a dignified way remove yourself from the situation. I think a lot of your listeners would understand that. Well, and that's what I intend to do, and that's what I'm doing.
Understood. And much as I would like to continue to get this absolutely straight, we'll take that as a starting position. Barnaby Joyce, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Sarah, it's always a pleasure with you.